Where do UFOs come from? Are they time travelers? Do they come from another galaxy? The mystery of this continues, and hopefully soon we will get some transparency on this because I would like to know. In this episode, we're going to be looking at Joe Rogan's podcast. The title of the podcast is Remote Viewing Expert Calls Potential UFO Disclosure and Embarrassment of Riches. You guys like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Of course, to a physics nerd like me, so yeah, now wait a minute. If it's real, it's physics. So
right, it's
can't be beyond our,
but beyond our understanding.
But it's beyond our engineering. So in fact, in that series of papers, I showed you that of the 38 papers, by the way. There's a little side story there. It's interesting. And those 38 papers were then posted. None of these people who generated those papers had any idea it had to do with ETs or UFOs or whatever. They all went up on what's called the JWIC server. It's a classified server for the Pentagon, and intelligence officers and aerospace contractors, could get access, but nobody in the public could. And usually those things go up, and they're up for a little while, and a month or so, and they take them down. This was such a popular set. This 38 papers, such a popular set, that everybody screamed every time they tried to take it down, and so it was posted there. Like forever. But eventually, through Freedom of Information Act and so on, most of those papers have been released. And I was concerned that, oh my God, these guys are all going to call me up and say, what? You didn't tell me this had anything to do with ETs or UFOs? But actually, nobody seemed to not complain about it. So back to the question that you mentioned a little earlier, though, about, what's the source of this? Like I said, it's an embarrassment of riches. There's so much observation. The idea that it may be a scout coming by from some other planet and checking us out and heading off or whatever. I mean, there's much more than that. And, of course, as you know from interviewing Jacques Vallée, he dug into the literature and found out, you can go back millennia and see descriptions of exactly what we're talking about today. So as far as where they come from or what they're doing here, I myself have written a paper called Ultra-Terrestrials, where I try to cover the gamut. And I cover everything. Yeah, they could be spacecraft from some other galaxy whipping through here. Or maybe there's some Atlanteans left over from eons ago, and they're just kind of hiding out in the seabed or on some mountain range someplace. Or maybe some ET group showed up here 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, and they're hiding out with some bases locally and so on. And, of course, we have a fellow by the name of, a professor by the name of Masters who thinks that, well, maybe it's time travelers from the future coming back. And then there's the whole idea, since physicists like to talk about additional dimensions, maybe they come from another. So anyway, then in my ultra-terrestrials paper, I list everyone I can think of and say, we should be exploring all of these. So at this point, I would say we know it's NHI, non-human intelligence, but it's not clear what the source is. Maybe at a higher level of classification than I had access to, and maybe it's known. But right now, I'd say we don't.
Do you have a suspicion?
I guess my suspicion that it's likely non-human intelligence from some other galaxy or far out in our own galaxy that have come here but some time back, and that there are stations here. One of our remote viewers that was really good came up one day and said, I was looking around and I think I found a UFO base on Earth. This is during the remote viewing era, and oh my God, I've got to report this to my CIA contract monitor. And do I want to tell him that? And So I did, and one of the places he came up with some, but one of the places he came up with was Mount Zeal in Australia. And so my CIA contract monitor says, well, I know the station keeper, CIA station keeper out in Australia. I think I'll call him, and I won't tell him why I'm asking, but I'll ask him about Mount Zeal area. So he gave him a call. And he said, I'd like to ask you about that Mount Zeal area. He says, oh, you mean where the UFOs are always flying around?
Whoa.
So I thought, oh, gee, you know.
So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is these are time travelers? Do you think they have a base here on Earth? Look, I'll tell you what, if I had to guess, they're in the ocean. There's so much of the ocean that we have not charted. You know what I mean? So much. It's the ocean's the biggest mystery ever. You know, we know more about space than we do about the bottom of our oceans, you know, the ocean floors, and what the hell is down there. You know, a lot of these UFOs do seem to appear over the ocean. We have reports of them coming out of the water from the ocean, you know. So makes you wonder. So I don't know. I kind of think they're from here. This gentleman here makes an interesting statement about Atlantis, you know, which kind of made me think, like, maybe, right? Wouldn't that be crazy? But who knows? You guys let me know down below. You guys, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Where are they from? Are they from Zeta Reticuli? Are they time travelers? Ultra terrestrial? I mean, interterrestrial? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of acronyms for it. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, you guys, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Peace out.